como gustar, verbs like gustar, they use indirect object pronouns. Now, do you remember your indirect object pronouns?
I think I do, since I can see them there.
Exactly. We studied these in chapter 6, and they're back again. They are me, te, le, nos, and les. Okay? Let's just take a look at a sentence in Spanish and try to decipher how verbs like gustar work. Okay? So we have me gusta el libro. Now you said that gustar means to like. Okay? And the word me, how does that translate into English?
As an indirect object pronoun?
Exactly.
To me?
To me. So right now, if we literally translated the sentence, it would be, to me like the book. Not quite perfect English, correct? So actually, gustar means to please. And if you were to translate this sentence literally, it would be, the book is pleasing to me. Now, that still sounds kind of strange. So in English, this sentence really translates to, I like the book. If you notice, gusta is conjugated where el libro is the subject. So really, the subject of the sentence is el libro. That, el libro, pleases me. Well, el libro is pleasing to me. So this is your subject, and the verb, gustar, conjugates based on this subject, or what it is that you like. So you have to kind of think of it in reverse order. Okay, let's take a look at another one here. Nos gustan las películas. Okay? So las películas means what?
The movies.
The movies. And nos means?
To us.
Exactly. So we have the movies are pleasing to us. Now again, that sounds kind of bizarre. So in English we'd say, we like the movies. In this case, obviously, we is the subject. And what is it that you like? The movies. You have to think of the sentence backwards in Spanish. The movies are pleasing to us. Okay? So in this case, literal translations don't work well. So we're going to have to try to take things in this kind of reverse crazy order. Alright? So let's try it with the sentence here in English. They like tacos. Okay? So with this sentence, for example, we like the movies. We have to say the movies are pleasing to us. So how could you say this sentence in that reverse order?
In English it would come out to, I think, tacos are pleasing to us. To them.
To them, muy bien. Okay? So tacos are pleasing to them. So what's my indirect object pronoun that I use for to them?
For to them is les.
Okay, so we're going to use les. And that takes care of they. Alright? Now, let's skip the verb for a second. Let's worry about our tacos over there. So how would I write that in Spanish? That's pretty easy.
Same way.
With tacos, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, one rule that you have to remember with verbs like gustar is that the article is required. Okay? So you have to write los tacos. That has to do with the fact that this is the subject. Okay? So, if los tacos are my subject, how do I conjugate my verb gustar?
It's going to be gustan.
Exactly.
Because that's for a plural subject? Is that how that goes?
Third person plural. Okay. So here we have tacos are pleasing to them. Okay. Just color code this here. Alright. Now, we looked at things that people like, but you can also like to do something. You can like a verb, right? So if I like to read or I like to travel, you could say that as well. Now in that case, what you would do is, with those verbs, put them in the infinitive form, just like you have in English. I like to travel. Remember that the infinitive form is the to travel form. And in Spanish, that's, for example, viajar. So if I wanted to say, I like to travel, it would be me gusta viajar. Traveling is pleasing to me. Alright? So let's take a look at that over here. She likes to study and learn. Alright? Now, if we look at this in the other way that you can say it, you could say, studying and learning are pleasing to her. Start to get the idea?
Yes.
Alright. So let's start with to her. And what indirect object pronoun do I use to say to her?
Le.
Exactly. So le. And we'll leave a blank for our verb, blanks right now. But how would we say to study?
Estudiar.
Okay. And to learn?
Y we haven't done that too much. Is it aprender?
Exactly. Muy bien. Okay. So once again, this actually serves as our subject. So we have to have our verb, gustar, conjugate based on this as our subject. Now when you have verbs as what you like to do, it behaves a little bit differently. No matter how many verbs you could have 301 verbs as things you like to do, you're always going to use gustar in the singular form. Okay? So you would just say gusta. Okay, so you say, le gusta estudiar y aprender. And that translates right to, she likes to study and learn.
So how come you use gusta in the singular form, even though you say you can have 20, 30, 300 verbs after it, things you like to do?
That's just a rule you have to learn. If you have an infinitive as what you like to do, you're always going to use that singular form of gustar, no matter how many verbs you have. With things, you have to look at whether it's singular or plural. Okay? Now, if you notice, the only forms of gustar that I'm using here are what?
Gusta and gustan.
Exactly.
So that's, is that the third, gusta is the third person singular,
Right?
and gustan is the third person plural because it ends in an N.
Exactly.
So it's like the ellos form that we learned before.
Exactly. So these are the only two verb conjugations you have to worry about with verbos como gustar. So that's nice. Okay? You only have to worry about third person singular and third person plural. But you notice we talked about I, we, they, and she. It's everybody. But you're always going to conjugate it third person singular or third person plural depending upon what you're talking about that you like. Okay? That's with gustar.